You think that to learn English, you need a lot of money, and because of that, you keep putting it off. Let me be very clear. That is just an excuse. There are 5 completely free ways to improve your English right now, and they actually work. You do not need an expensive course, a private tutor, or a special app you have to pay for. Everything I am going to tell you today is available for free right now on your phone or your computer. In this episode, we are going to go through all 5 of them, and at the end, we will give you a weekly plan so you can put them all together and start seeing real results. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Lab. I'm Michelle, and I am so happy you are here today. Chris, how are you doing?
Doing great, Michelle. Hey, everyone. I'm Chris. Let's get right into it because today's topic is something a lot of people need to hear.
Absolutely. Today, we are talking about 5 ways to improve your English spending exactly $0.
Zero. Not $5, not 20, zero. And I know some people are going to hear that and think, okay, sure, but those free things never actually work.
Right, and that is exactly what we want to break today. Because the truth is, the problem is never the tool. The problem is how you use it.
Totally. So let's go through the 5 options one by one. The first one is something that is huge right now, and it keeps growing.
Tell them, Chris.
Okay, option number 1, talking to an artificial intelligence like it is your personal English teacher.
Yes. And look, we are talking about tools you probably already have. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Meta AI, all of them are free.
And most people use them just to ask random questions. But here's the key. You have to give the AI a specific role.
Exactly. You do not just open it and say, hey, what is the weather today? You say something like, act as my English teacher. Let's have a conversation about my job. Speak to me in English, and at the end of each response, correct my grammar mistakes and explain why they are wrong.
That changes everything. Now the AI is not just a search engine, it becomes a patient tutor available 24 hours a day.
And it never gets tired of your questions. It never makes you feel embarrassed when you make a mistake.
Which, honestly, is one of the biggest problems people have when learning English, the fear of making mistakes in front of another person.
100%. There was actually a study from a university in Indonesia, published in 2025, that showed students who practiced conversation with AI improved their spoken expression by 19%.
19%. That's not nothing.
And more importantly, they felt less anxious when speaking because they had practiced so many times in a safe space.
I love that. And you can use it for so many specific situations. Job interview practice, ordering food at a restaurant, a meeting with your boss.
Even just chatting about movies or your weekend, whatever makes the conversation natural for you.
How much time do you recommend?
15 to 20 minutes a day. That's it. Consistency is more important than doing it for 2 hours once a week.
Perfect. Now, before we move on, we want to ask you something. Leave us a comment right now. Which AI is your favorite and why? And have you ever used it as an English tutor before? We're genuinely curious.
Yes, we love reading those comments. Okay, option number 2.
Option 2 is one that literally everyone has access to and almost nobody uses correctly.
YouTube and Netflix with subtitles in English.
Yes, and notice I said subtitles in English, not in Spanish.
That's the key difference. Watching a show in English with Spanish subtitles is entertainment. Watching with English subtitles is training.
Exactly. There's a concept that linguists call comprehensible input. It was made popular by Dr. Stephen Krashen from the University of Southern California. The idea is that you learn a language best when you receive content that is just a little bit above your current level. Not too easy, not too hard.
And the technique is very specific. When you hear a word or phrase you don't understand, you stop, you go back, and you try to figure out the meaning from the context.
You listen again 2 or 3 times, and only if you really can't figure it out, you look it up.
That process of stopping, listening, analyzing, and deducing is what activates real learning.
I actually did this with a show about a chef working in a restaurant in New York. My English got so much better just from those cooking terms and the way the characters talked to each other under pressure.
See, that's a perfect example. You weren't studying, you were watching something you enjoyed, but you were doing it strategically.
And on YouTube, there are channels made specifically for English learners. BBC Learning English is one of the best. Short videos about news, culture, grammar, all explained by native speakers, all free.
How much time for this one?
At least 30 minutes, 4 days a week. And the beautiful thing is you can use time you're already spending watching videos. Just change the subtitle language.
Simple swap, big results. Okay, number 3. This one is what I call the hidden gem.
Oh, this one people don't know about enough.
The British Council has a completely free platform called Learn English. You can find it at learnenglish.britishcouncil.org.
And the British Council isn't just some random website. It's basically the most respected English teaching organization in the world.
Inside the platform, they have reading materials organized by level, from A1, which is complete beginner, all the way to C1, which is near native level.
And this is so important. One of the most common mistakes people make is reading texts that are too difficult and getting frustrated, or reading things that are too easy and not making any progress.
The British Council solves that problem by organizing everything by level. You can even take a free placement test on their site to know exactly where to start.
And each text comes with comprehension activities, vocabulary exercises, and grammar practice, all with automatic correction.
So you get immediate feedback. You know right away what you got right and what you got wrong.
What I really like about this one is what it trains specifically, reading in English without mentally translating everything into Spanish.
Thinking directly in the language. That's actually what experts call thinking in the language, and it's a skill that only develops with consistent reading practice at the right level.
How often?
3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes each session. Give it a couple of months and you'll notice a real difference in how quickly you process what you read.
I believe that. My reading speed in English went up so much once I stopped translating in my head.
Okay, number 4. And I already know some people are going to roll their eyes at this one.
Duolingo. Before you close the app, listen to us.
Look, the problem is not Duolingo. The problem is how most people use it. They install it, they use it for 2 weeks, and then they forget about it.
But when you use it correctly, it is genuinely effective, especially for beginners and intermediate learners.
The method is based on something called spaced repetition. It's a technique backed by neuroscience of learning.
The idea is that the system shows you words and structures exactly at the moment when your brain is about to forget them. That makes the memory much stronger than if you just study everything at once.
And there are studies backing this up. Duolingo actually collaborated with the University of Michigan on research that supports their method.
The secret is consistency, not intensity. 10 minutes every day is more effective than 2 hours once a week.
That sounds so simple, but it is so hard for people to actually do.
Because we always think we need to do something big to make progress. But with language learning, the small daily habit is the one that wins.
What does Duolingo do well, in your opinion?
It builds the foundation, essential vocabulary, sentence structures, verb conjugations. It's not going to make you sound like a native speaker, but it gives you the building blocks.
Use it as your daily warm-up, while you eat breakfast, on the bus, in those 5 minutes you are waiting for something. Make it automatic.
10 to 15 minutes every single day. No exceptions. That daily streak the app shows you is not just a game feature. It has a real educational purpose.
All right, and number 5. This is the one I think people underestimate the most.
English podcasts made for learners.
And we're not just saying this because we make a podcast.
Okay, maybe a little. But seriously, this option makes more of a difference in the long run than most people realize.
Here's why. A lot of people who can read English just fine will completely freeze up when they hear a native speaker talking at normal speed. They understand almost nothing.
That's called the listening gap, and the only way to close it is to expose your ears to real English consistently over time.
There are podcasts specifically designed for this, and they're completely free. One of the most recommended ones by English teachers around the world is 6-Minute English from the BBC.
6 minutes. That's it. In 6 minutes, they cover a real-world topic and teach you new vocabulary in context.
It's short, it's authentic, and it's designed so that you can understand it even if you aren't a native speaker. That's the sweet spot.
Another good one that's getting popular is Podcasts in English, which has episodes organized by level, from intermediate to advanced.
And what this option develops that none of the others can replace is the rhythm of the language. English has a very different stress pattern compared to Spanish.
And your brain needs time to internalize that rhythm. It only happens through a lot of listening. Research in psycholinguistics, including work from the University of Cambridge, shows that extensive listening is one of the strongest predictors of long-term fluency.
And this is the easiest one to fit into your day. You don't need extra time for it.
You listen while you're driving, cooking, walking, exercising, 20 or 30 minutes of English audio a day without it costing you any extra time from your routine.
That's the most efficient investment of all 5 options.
So let's do a quick recap before we move to the good part. Option 1, practice conversation with a free AI and treat it like your personal tutor.
Option 2, YouTube or Netflix with subtitles in English, not Spanish.
Option 3, the British Council's Learn English platform for structured reading by level.
Option 4, Duolingo, used consistently every single day.
And Option 5, English podcasts to train your ear passively.
5 options, 5 different skills, all free.
And now, the reward for everyone who stayed this far.
The weekly plan. This is how you put it all together so it actually works.
Monday is your AI day. 15 minutes of conversation with an artificial intelligence. This is your production day, the day your brain works the hardest because you have to generate the language, not just receive it.
Open any free AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you prefer, and start by saying something like, "Today we are going to have a conversation in English. Correct my grammar mistakes at the end of each of my messages and explain why they are wrong. Let's talk about my week."
Write everything in English. Don't switch to Spanish even if it's hard. Making mistakes is the whole point. The corrections are your real lesson.
And as you get more comfortable, you can change the topics. Your work, your plans, news you read, hypothetical situations. Keep it fresh.
Tuesday is your listening day. 15 minutes of podcast in English. Put on an episode of 6-Minute English from the BBC. It literally lasts 6 minutes, so you listen to it twice.
First time, without stopping. Just let your brain process the rhythm and the general meaning. Second time, pay more attention to the new vocabulary and the phrases you didn't catch the first time.
After both listens, take 3 minutes to write 2 or 3 sentences in English about what you understood from the episode. It doesn't have to be perfect.
That small writing exercise at the end activates your memory of what you heard and connects it to your writing skills.
Wednesday is your reading day. 15 minutes on the British Council's Learn English site. Pick a text at your level. Read it once all the way through without stopping, then read it again and note the words you don't know. And finally, do the comprehension exercises.
And you get immediate feedback because the correction is automatic. What you're training on Wednesday is reading speed and comprehension without translation.
Every week, it gets a little more comfortable, and that's exactly the progress you're looking for.
Thursday is your habit day, 15 minutes of Duolingo. This is the shortest day in terms of mental effort because Duolingo structures the content for you.
Just open the app and do your lessons without rushing. Thursday is a reminder that learning a language is a cumulative habit, not a sprint. If you're tired, do 15 minutes anyway.
Consistency here matters more than intensity.
Duolingo works as a bridge between the more demanding days of the week and the more passive listening days.
Friday is your screen day. 15 minutes of a YouTube video or a short scene from a series in English with English subtitles on. This is the most entertaining day of the week, and it is placed at the end of the work week on purpose.
When your brain is more tired, you learn better if the content genuinely interests you. So pick something you actually enjoy watching: cooking, technology, sports, comedy, whatever it is, as long as it is in English with English subtitles.
The rule for Friday is just one. When you hear a phrase or expression that catches your attention, write it down. Just one phrase per day. One phrase a week from a real context.
After a year of doing that, you have more than 50 phrases learned organically and memorably, not from a textbook.
Saturday is your free day with a purpose. No fixed task, but not completely empty either.
In language pedagogy, they call this incidental exposure, contact with the language without it being the main goal of what you're doing.
Put on music in English while you clean the house and pay attention to a lyric or two. Change your phone language to English. Read a meme in English. Listen to 10 minutes of a podcast while you walk. No pressure, no task, no correction.
Just contact. And the science is very clear on this. Informal and relaxed exposure reinforces what you learned on the structured days because the brain consolidates memory during rest.
And Sunday, only 5 minutes, not 15. Open the notes you made during the week. The AI corrections from Monday, the phrase from the Friday video, the new vocabulary from Tuesday's podcast.
Read them. Try to use each one in a sentence in your head. That's it.
That small closing ritual is what separates people who make real progress from people who feel like they are always starting over.
After 4 Sundays doing this, you'll realize you have built a real bank of vocabulary, phrases, and structures built by you for free in 15 minutes a day.
That is honestly one of the most powerful things about this whole system. It doesn't feel like studying. It feels like a part of your day.
And once something is part of your day, you do it without thinking. That's when real progress happens.
You know, I was talking to a friend last week who had been using Duolingo casually for about 3 months, but she switched to this kind of structured approach, adding the podcast on Tuesdays and the AI conversations on Mondays. And after just 6 weeks, she said her confidence when writing emails in English went through the roof.
6 weeks, and she didn't pay a single dollar for any of it.
That's the thing. The tools are there. They've always been there. The only thing that was missing was a clear plan.
And now you have it. Now you have the complete weekly plan with the 5 free tools to improve your English. But if you really want to reach the next level, I recommend you watch this episode, where we tell you how to avoid the 5 mistakes that are stopping you from advancing in your English learning.
See you there. Bye, everyone.
Bye.